sharp despite exhaustion. When he heard the cry, he stopped mid-step. "Daddy," the little girl whispered. "Is she dying?" He set her down gently. "Stay here, Nova." Turning toward the alley, he spoke, voice low but firm. "Back away from her." But before we dive into what happens next, I'd love to know, where are you tuning in from today? Drop your country in the comment below and please like the video. Thank you. Now let's continue. The aggressor froze, startled by the authority in that tone. The stranger's gaze was steady, unflinching, controlled, dangerous in its calm. Something about him made the other man hesitate, then step back. One step, then another. Within seconds, the attacker vanished into the shadows. The woman stared, breathless, heart pounding in disbelief. The man approached, rain glistening on his dark skin, and knelt beside her. "You're safe now," he said gently. She could only nod, tears mixing with the rain. In that moment, through fear, pain, and storm, two broken worlds collided, and nothing would ever be the same again. By the time the rain slowed, Jonas Mercer had carried the injured woman all the way to his small apartment on the edge of South Atlanta. She clung to a silver laptop as if her life depended on it, refusing to let go. He didn't ask questions. He simply wrapped his jacket around her, shielding her from the cold. His building was old, its stairwell groaning with every step. His daughter, Nova, followed behind, gripping her stuffed bunny. Inside, the air smelled faintly of soap and warm bread. Jonas laid the woman carefully on the worn-out couch. "You're safe here," he said softly. Nova peeked from behind her father's leg, her voice small. "Daddy, why is she crying like me when I miss Mommy?" The question hung in the air like a held breath. Jonas froze, pain flickering behind his eyes. The woman, still trembling, turned her face away, her lips quivering. "Because," Jonas finally said, "sometimes grown-ups hurt too." Nova nodded solemnly, then tiptoed to her room, her rain boots squeaking. Jonas fetched a towel, wrapping it gently around the woman's shoulders. "I'll make you tea," he murmured. She nodded without speaking, clutching her laptop tighter. When he returned with a steaming mug, she was staring blankly at the wall. He handed it to her carefully. "Drink. It'll help." Her fingers brushed his, just for a moment, and something wordless passed between them. Safety, gratitude, fear. She didn't yet know his story. He didn't yet know hers. But in that small, dimly lit room, a fragile connection had begun to take root, born out of rain, silence, and survival. The woman woke sometime before dawn. The world was still, except for the faint hum of a heater and the soft snore of a child down the hall. Her ankle throbbed, but the pain was dull now. She shifted, noticing a blanket tucked around her, and beside her, a small note in neat handwriting. "Your foot's not healed yet. Stay as long as you need." She blinked back tears. No conditions. No questions. Just kindness. Her name was Selena Vaughn, CFO, public figure, heiress to a corporate empire. Or at least she had been. Hours earlier, her fiancé, Marcus Layton, had turned from lover to threat. When she refused to sign away her shares, he'd snapped. She'd run barefoot into the rain, laptop in hand, clutching proof of his corruption. And now she was here. Selena swung her legs off the couch carefully. Her shoes sat by the door, no longer wet. Someone had cleaned them, stitched the torn seam with neat precision. A towel was folded beside them, still warm. Her chest ached. She pressed the note to her heart. When Jonas stepped quietly into the room, she looked up, startled. "I was going to leave," she whispered. He just shook his head. "You can't walk far yet." Their eyes met, and something silent but real passed between them. Two strangers carrying invisible wounds. He offered his hand. "At least stay until the rain stops." She hesitated, then nodded. For the first time in years, Selena didn't feel like a pawn in someone else's game. She just felt seen. Morning sunlight streamed through the dusty window, spilling gold across the room. Selena stirred, wincing as she shifted her ankle. Jonas appeared from the kitchen, a steaming mug in one hand, a roll of bandages in the other. "Ginger tea," he said. "It helps with pain." She took it hesitantly. "You made this." He nodded, sitting nearby. "Old habit. When I was a firefighter, it was my go-to fix for burns and stress." Her eyebrows rose slightly. "You were a firefighter." "Used to be," he said quietly. "Now I fix washing machines. It's easier on the heart." He began rewrapping her ankle, his touch steady and patient. The silence between them was gentle, unforced. Selina studied him. His rough hands, the faint scar along his forearm, the careful way he moved. No one had cared for her like this in years. Not her father. Not Marcus. Certainly not anyone in her glittering world of deals and deception. "You don't have to do this," she murmured. He smiled faintly. "Maybe not. But it's worth doing." Tears welled unexpectedly in her eyes. She turned away, embarrassed. "I'm just not used to this. Being cared for." Jonas didn't press her. He simply offered a tissue. "Everyone deserves it," he said. From the hallway, Nova appeared, holding up a crayon drawing. "I made this for you." Selina took it gently. 3 figures. Jonas, Nova, and an empty outline of a woman. "That's you," Nova said brightly. "I left the space empty until we found someone who belongs." Selina's throat tightened. "Why me?" Nova grinned. "Because you look like someone who needs a family." Selina couldn't speak. She just nodded, tears falling freely. Days passed. Selina's ankle grew stronger. She still limped, but the pain no longer controlled her. Each morning Jonas offered his arm. He never pitied her, only steadied her when she faltered. They fell into a rhythm. She'd read while he fixed appliances. He'd cook while she tried, often unsuccessfully, to help. Nova filled the space between them with laughter and crayons. One Saturday Nova declared, "We're making pancakes." Selina laughed. "I've never cooked in my life." Jonas chuckled. "Then this'll be interesting." They gathered in the small kitchen. Flour dusted the air, batter splashed on the counter, and Nova took charge like a tiny general. "Wait for bubbles. Don't burn it." Selina tried. The first pancake stuck. The second folded. The third smoked. Jonas waved a towel dramatically. "Selina Vaughn, fire hazard extraordinaire." They burst into laughter. Real, unguarded laughter that filled the apartment like music. When they finally sat to eat, the pancakes were oddly shaped, half-burned, but perfect in their imperfection. Nova chewed proudly. "These are silly pancakes," she said. "But silly tastes good." For the first time in years, Selina laughed without restraint. No cameras, no expectations, just warmth. As the sunlight streamed through the window, she caught Jonas's gaze. Neither spoke, but the silence was rich, something unspoken growing quietly between them. In a tiny kitchen filled with burnt pancakes and childlike joy, Selina began to remember what life felt like before fear. Evening fell heavy with the sound of knocking. Firm. Familiar. Selina froze. Jonas glanced at her, eyes sharp. Outside, a sleek black car idled by the curb. Cameras glinted. Reporters shouted her name. "Don't move," Jonas said softly, closing the curtain. Within minutes, more cars arrived. Lawyers, PR handlers, the press. Marcus Layton had found her. The world she'd escaped was now parked outside Jonas's door. Nova peeked from her room. "Daddy, why are people yelling?" "It's okay, honey," Selina said quickly, voice trembling. "They're just lost." Later that night, her phone buzzed with a message from the corporate board. They offered reinstatement, millions in compensation, and a public apology, if she returned. Jonas watched her read it in silence. "I'm not going back," she said finally. "You sure?" "Yes." Her voice was steady now. "I've had wealth and power. But I've never had peace." Jonas studied her for a moment, then nodded once. "Then you already know what matters." That night, she slept soundly for the first time in years. Days later, Selina returned, not to surrender but to finish what she started. The boardroom gleamed with glass and steel. Every face turned as she entered, limping, composed, no longer the woman they controlled. Marcus sat smugly at the head of the table. "Selina Vaughn," he said smoothly. "I didn't expect you back." She smiled faintly. "I came to end it." With a tap of her laptop, evidence flashed across the screen. Emails, falsified contracts, hidden accounts. Gasps filled the room. "You built this company on deception," she said. "But I won't carry your sins anymore." Marcus stood abruptly. "You're destroying yourself." "No," she replied, placing a folder on the table. "I'm freeing myself." Her resignation letter lay on top, signed and sealed. "I'm walking away," she said simply. "From fear. From manipulation. From you." As she turned to leave, one board member, an older woman who had once mentored her, whispered, "Why?" Selina looked back, eyes soft but fierce. "Because I finally remembered who I am." The doors closed behind her. For the first time her steps, uneven but sure, sounded like freedom. When Selina returned to Jonas's apartment, the air smelled of pancakes and wet paint. Nova sat on the balcony, humming as she watered tiny plants. Jonas was fixing a cracked window. Selina stood in the doorway, her heart full. "Do you have room for one more in that garden?" Jonas looked up and smiled. "Always." Nova ran to her, dirt smudged and glowing. "We're planting marigolds today. You can pick the next color." Selina knelt beside them, sinking her hands into the earth. As the soil pressed under her fingers, something inside her rooted. Belonging, purpose, peace. That night, under soft lamplight, they talked about dreams. Jonas spoke of his late wife, of raising Nova alone. Selina shared how her success had become a cage. And between their words, love grew. Not rushed, not dramatic, just quiet and real. Months later, Selina poured her energy into something new. The Nova Haven, a foundation for women escaping manipulation and abuse. Jonas helped build the website. Nova designed the logo, a bright yellow sun surrounded by flowers. At its core was a belief Selina had learned the hard way. No one should have to earn safety. The Haven became a sanctuary, filled with stories of resilience and healing. Selina spoke softly at community events, her voice steady, her purpose clear. Each evening she returned home, to Jonas and Nova, laughter echoing down the hallway, crayons scattered across the table. Her life was no longer defined by power but by peace. One quiet morning, Nova ran inside, holding a fresh drawing. "Look," she beamed. It showed 3 stick figures in a blooming garden. Jonas, Nova, and Selina in a flowing purple dress. Above them, in bright letters, "Our forever family." Selina's eyes filled with tears. She knelt beside Nova, hugging her tightly. "It's perfect." Later that night, Jonas found Selina on the balcony. The city shimmered below. "I have something for you," he said, handing her a small woven bracelet of colored threads. "Nova made it," he smiled. "She said it's not a wedding ring, it's a promise." Selina slipped it on, her voice trembling. "For the first time in my life, I feel chosen." Jonas took her hand. "You always were." Beneath the soft glow of city lights, they sat together, 3 hearts stitched by kindness. Selina had walked away from power, but she had walked toward something far greater. Love without condition, peace without fear, and a home built not from wealth, but from grace. Thank you so much for watching this story till the end. If it touched your heart, please don't just scroll away. Hit that subscribe button and join our growing family. Every like, comment, and share helps us bring more powerful stories like this to life. Your support means the world to us, and it keeps this channel going. So please, subscribe now, turn on the notification bell, and be part of something beautiful. See you in the next story.